Hello all, welcome. This is Harish Krishnan and again welcome to my course Developing an Interpreter Using Rust Programming. If you're like me, you might be thinking these interpreters are compilers that interpret our programming languages. You might be using JavaScript or Java or C or C++, anything it could be. But you might be thinking interpreters or compilers that interpret these programs are really magical. Or maybe it's too complex for us to understand. I was thinking the same. But then I thought we should understand about this. On the top, like these interpreters look deceptively simple. That is, you give them some kind of garbage, but then they make some sense of it and then they give us an output, right? But then how this all works? That's when I started to look for different kinds of resources like blogs and books. But then the books, whatever I found, were really technical, and I felt it was out of reach for me, and it was too much for me. At least I would say that's the case for me. So I was looking for resources and resources. That's when I found this book by Thorsten Ball, Writing an Interpreter and Co. This book was the one I was looking for. It was not too complicated and not too dense. At the same time, it's not too shallow as well. It was somewhere in the perfect place. So once I read this book, and that's how I created this other stints of this Developing an Interpreter series in my Udemy profile. If you have seen my Udemy profile, I have already created some other courses on developing an interpreter using Go as well as TypeScript. So those courses are all inspired by this book, which is a great book from Thorsten Ball. And as a note, he's not paying me to say this. It is indeed a great book. If you want, just check it out. Anyways, so who this course is for? This course is for someone who likes to learn by developing an interpreter. So in this course, we will develop interpreter side by side, going through all this process, and then we will understand about the interpreters and how they work as well. So let's see what we will be covering inside this course. So as a first step, we will understand what an interpreter is all about. It's kind of like you could think it of like an 101 course or a very crash course on interpreter on a very high level. And then we will slowly get into all the phases of an interpreter. In the first phase, lecture phase, we will provide an input to this lecture phase, and then it will in turn give us some kind of list of tokens. So basically the lecture phase will give us a list of tokens. From that tokens, what we will do is then we will enter this parsing phase. Inside this parsing phase, we will input the tokens which we got from lecture phase as input to the parsing phase. And then this parsing phase will look for the correctness of the program. And after checking for the correctness of the program, if there is any errors, it will throw out an error. If not, it will give us an output as an abstract syntax tree. Don't worry if you don't understand what AST or abstract syntax tree is, unless I don't stick my tongue. You will understand what all those are about when we go inside this course. So whatever the AST we have, we will then fit as an input to this evaluation phase. Evaluation phase is where the interpreter really comes in, or it's kind of like an heart, you could think, because here is where all the computation, not heart, probably a brain. Heart is something like parsing phase, I would say. Evaluation is something like brain. Here all the computation happens and we will get the result. For example, if you want to provide the out or get the output of 2 plus 2, which is 4, right? That's where this evaluation will take care of that. Okay. So once we complete that, this itself is kind of like we have completed most of the interpreter. You will understand how interpreter works, but we will not be ending over here. We will be adding data structures to it. For example, if you have been using JavaScript or Java, you would have used hash maps and arrays, right? We will be adding array data structure, hash data structure to our interpreter. And then we will interpret it. Once that is done, it's not that it. We will also develop some inbuilt function. For example, array has some inbuilt function in JavaScript. If you see push and pop, right? Those kinds of inbuilt functions we will develop over here as well. And some more inbuilt functions. And best of all, during all these process, we will also be developing a REPL. REPL stands for read, eval, print, loop. It's kind of like a command line interface where you can interact with the interpreter which we will be developing. Great. So that will be the end of the course. And best of all, we will be developing this interpreter for a fictional programming language called Monkey Programming Language. This Monkey Programming Language was created by Thorsten Ball for the book which I mentioned in the previous slide. So don't worry if it's too vague for you, what is this Monkey Programming Language? We will be learning everything all together. Okay, great. So if you are looking for developing this interpreter using other programming language, please do check out my other courses. Thank you.